At home, we've already made some changes. And you're quite aware that, on the books we had this standing operating procedure where 24 hours would have had to pass before, you take any major action on receiving a missing person report. As it is now, we have changed that. Immediately on receipt of a missing person report, the police is now obligated to take action.
So it appears that the autopsy or the preliminary autopsy report on Adriana Younge is back, and the Guyana is in uproar because apparently this is not what they wanted to hear. Something about this death have not sit well with the people of Guyana. Um, they're still looking for answers, searching for answers. They're getting answers, but this is not the answer that they really want to hear. It just doesn't sit right with the people of Guyana. And when the majority of people think that something is wrong, they said 100 Frenchmen cannot be wrong. Well, I don't know because I'm not a pathologist, neither am I an investigator there, so I would not be able to give you the answer. But based on what they're saying, it appears that the preliminary findings is indicating that she just drowned. People are still asking, but how did it happen? Um, why didn't anyone see her in the pool if she was there all the time? There were so many people at the place. It's just a weird thing to people, and a lot of things are happening in Ghana, and it seems like they want to go back in protests. They want to hit the streets again. But this is the preliminary autopsy. It says the Ghana Police Force has released portions of preliminary autopsy findings in the tragic death of the 11-year-old Adriana. And the disclosure comes in wake of statements by the new attorneys for the family, Dexter Todd and Yusuf Anderson, who expressed frustration over the lack of substantive updates from the police. Now, here they're saying, among the key findings of the preliminary autopsy report is what they're saying. No evidence of sexual assault. An examination of the external genitalia revealed no abnormalities, and the hymen was found to be intact. Simply means that she was not sexually assaulted. No traumatic injuries. The soft tissue and skeletal structure showed no signs of trauma. Foam residue found. They're saying a cone of foam was discovered in the nostrils and the oral cavity, which pathologists note is commonly observed in drowning cases. This finding contradicts claims circulating online that cotton wool had been placed in her nose. Of course, there are a lot of photos floating around when the body was found the day that showed cotton was in the nose. Persons are saying now that these things were AI generated. That's what they're saying. I don't know. I'll leave that to the people of Ghana to comment in the section below. Now, immersion changes detected. They're saying skin changes described as washerwoman effects were noted on both hands and soles of the feet, which are consistent with prolonged immersion in water. Well, they didn't say how long the body was in the water based on the findings they have here, which it could be very interesting, right? It would be very interesting. Skin intact. There were no visible before death injuries to the body. Basically, nobody didn't beat her up. There were no violent marks. That's what they're basically telling you here. Fluid in sinus and lungs. Approximately 1 milliliter of fluid was found in the sphenoid sinus, an area deep within the skull, as well as fluid in the lungs. Both are signs associated with drowning. In addition to the local examination, samples have been sent abroad for further testing. Laboratories in the US, while tissue samples are undergoing testing by board certified pathologists at Mount Sinai in the US as well. Police confirmed that the examination was conducted in the presence of attorney Darren Wade, who represents the family, as well as Caleb McCullum, a medical professional selected by the family. And the investigation into her death remains active, and law enforcement has reaffirmed its commitment to pursuing a thorough, credible inquiry. This is not what the people wanted to hear. The social media is on fire. They're saying lies, lies, and more lies, and they need a proper investigation. They need more autopsy. Um, I don't know. You know, sometimes when you just feel that something is off and you just keep asking for answers, and maybe it's not really as off as you think it is. I don't know if that is the case here. I really don't know. I can't say. I just can't say. But there are a lot of issues coming up because of what took place at that hotel before. And so people's mind are in tune with a lot of different frequencies here right now. So we'll hear from them in the comment section. But one thing has changed in Guyana. Apparently, the police force are now saying that in wake of Adriana's death, there's newly adopted emergency procedures by the Guyana police force when it comes to missing persons. So apparently, Mark Phillips confirmed that the changes mark the beginning of meaningful reform as the government rolls out updated protocols that prioritize immediate response over the previously mandated 24-hour delay. So there was a 24-hour delay if someone is missing, reported missing in Guyana. That is no more. The police force has now changed that, where there's immediate response to a missing person, no longer waiting 24 hours, which is not bad. That's a good change. And the revised approach is coordinated throughout nationwide multi-agency system. All right, so that's something new in Guyana right there. Let's listen to this from the Prime Minister Mark Phillips. Let's
We've
hear
already
from the
started
news.
discussion with our
Yeah.
security cooperation partners aimed at getting whatever support, whatever assistance in conducting the inquiry, and also in helping us to progress with the reform measures of the police force coming out of an incident like this. At home, we've already made some changes. And you're quite aware that, on the books we had this standing operating procedure where 24 hours would have had to pass before, you take any major action on receiving a missing person report. As it is now, we have changed that. Immediately on receipt of a missing person report, the police is now obligated to take action. And not only act alone, but act in an interagency setting with all the other agencies that will able to assist in, like bringing closure or finding the solution, whether it will be rescuing the person or whether it will have to be a recovery operation. And we have seen since that change, incidentally, that change took place on a weekend. And since that change, we had 3 incidents of missing person reports, and we were able to solve all 3 cases. So the reform has already started as a result of this incident, but of course there are greater and more strategic things to be done, and we will work with our security partner at the right time, having tied up the arrangements and the commitments from our security cooperation partners. We will make that available to the public as to who are the agencies